Assalamu alaikum. You are listening to the Mkwanda show on Salam Media. It is 11:57 on this Monday, the 1st of February 2021. So, being the 1st of February, it is also World Hijab Day, and World Hijab Day is a day that was started some years ago. I mean, because it's 2021, it kind of feels like it's a very long time since started 2014 by Najma Khan. And basically, she started this day in order to teach people about hijab, to teach non-Muslims in particular about hijab, why we should wear why Muslim women rather wear hijab, and with that they would have events, global events, where youngsters would encourage other Muslim women, or rather non-Muslim women and Muslim women alike, to wear the hijab for that time only, or for that day only, just so that they can have a feel of what it's like to wear hijab, and kind of like be in the shoes of a Muslim woman who wears hijab. So this year is no different. It is World Hijab Day, and there are a series of events taking place globally online because of the situation that we are in. Since the pandemic and the lockdown, we've had to do things differently, and we have moved to online platforms. And there's no difference over here. I'm going to be chatting to Ayathandwa, Siyo, who is going to be taking us, who we're going to be having a panel discussion with her, as well as Johara Hassan. We're going to be talking about the World Hijab Day and its relevance in in a world like today, and in a country like South Africa. I'm sure you guys have heard about the Islamophobic event that took place last year in Paul, where a Muslim woman was harassed, and her hijab was almost pulled off by a man, and he was calling her names and doing all sorts of funny things because of that. And then that was an incident of Islamophobia. And then there was also the incident whereby the SANDF did not allow one of their what do you call those? It's not a comrade, yeah, but one of their members to not wear the hijab as part of their uniform. But now they have since won the case, and Sister Fatima is now allowed to wear hijab as part of her uniform for the SANDF. So you can leave your comments in the comment section. You can also have your questions ready for us. And we are also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can call us on WhatsApp, or no, don't call us on WhatsApp. Send us a voice note or your message on WhatsApp. The number is 0617660355. And if you would like to call us in studio, the number is 01088022396. All right, let us get this discussion going. Do I have my guests on the line, Ayathandwa and Johara Hassan? Assalamu alaikum to both of you.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right, shukran so much for joining me on this World Hijab Day, ladies. First of all, let us start first. What does hijab mean to you? I'm going to start with Ayathandwa, since you are on my right. Ayathandwa, did you get that? What does hijab mean to you?
Please repeat. Okay, no, for me, hijab means my sense of pride, contentment for me, respect, love, also for myself, because I'm treating myself as a pearl. And since I'm this important pearl, I need to cover up myself so that I'm not attacked or destroyed generally by the outside factors of this environment. So basically, for me, hijab is just respect, love, contentment, and a sense of pride.
And Johara, what about you?
Hijab for me is a sense of identity, an Islamic identity, and it's also a submission. There's so many forms of worship, and yet hijab is something that has been prescribed to us, and only now do we see the science or the purity behind wearing the hijab. So it's a form of worship, it's a form of ibadat, as well as my identity, my Islamic identity.
Definitely, hijab is a form of identity because when people see you dressed or covered a certain way, then they automatically identify you as being a Muslim woman. Now, let's come to the Islamophobic part when it comes to hijab. At the moment, there is a trend going on Twitter. It's called "End Hijabophobia." What have you guys experienced? Have you ladies experienced any Islamophobia when wearing the hijab in public?
So I can go in here. In my very early days of being in niqab, there was this consciousness, or maybe an insecurity, because I was just entering the world as a new hijabi or a new niqabi, and we become very sensitive to other people's perception of us. So there were a lot of racial slurs and a lot of Islamophobia in the very early days of being in niqab. I am in niqab for 11 years now, alhamdulillah. But in those early days, because I hadn't yet developed a thick skin, I would take it very personally when people would say anything derogatory or unkind regarding my identity. Now you see me embracing color, but before I would wear the black hijab and the black niqab. So in a non-Indian community, I would stick out like a sore thumb. And it took a huge amount of adjusting, and also me realizing and reminding myself and circling back to the fact that I was doing this solely and only for the pleasure of my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a form of worship. It is a prescribed form of dressing, so there's hikmah in it, there's beauty in it, and that constant reminder would be the motivation to continue wearing it. And then there would be people who would have lovely comments to make. And just a few months ago, at the very beginning of lockdown, I was in a supermarket queue. And it was when people were just newly introduced to the idea of wearing a mask as a compulsory act. And this lady was talking to one of the other patrons in the queue, and she said she was complaining about the mask and how difficult it is. And then she glanced over her shoulder and she looked at me wearing the full black hijab, and she says, "Whoa, you must be having a good old chuckle at the rest of us." and I thought about it, how ironic it is that when I was newly in hijab and niqab, it was such an unusual sight to see a woman in niqab in the area that I lived, and now everyone dresses just like me, alhamdulillah. So yes, there were many Islamophobic. I was the victim of Islamophobia or hijabophobia years ago, but I think with developing a thick skin and with reminders that this is for the pleasure of Allah, it becomes easier. And it also, when we constantly remind ourselves that this is a form of dawah, we can spread our deen through dressing this way, and through conducting ourselves in accordance with the sunnah, then it doesn't become a burden.
All right, I agree with you there. Let's see if Ayathandwa is back on the line. But yeah, I'm sure many can say that they have received some sort of backlash or comments made regarding wearing the hijab. Ayathandwa, what are your thoughts on that? Have you received any Islamophobic comments or slurs or anything? Working from home.
Working from home.
Ayathandwa, what are your thoughts on the Islamophobia that's going on, especially against Muslim women who cover themselves?
I think we find this Islamophobia not only there but also here in South Africa. Knowledge about Islam, and unfortunately what is spread about Islam through the media It's just negativity. People think that we are oppressed because we're in hijab. People think that men are controlling us because we're in hijab. They don't understand the purpose of hijab or what hijab is to us as Muslim women. I think it needs to start with education. Some, yes, are ignorant. We can be honest about it. There's some people just bluntly ignorant about it. But if they were to open up their minds, not let alone their hearts, just open up their minds to the religion and understand why we wear hijabs, probably, maybe, inshallah, the Islamophobia would end. But so I think it's just the lack of understanding and also just following what people assume of what Islam is, of what hijab is. Because really, people assume just because I'm wearing the scarf, I'm this submissive woman who doesn't know how to read, who doesn't know how to write, who doesn't go to school, who is just being controlled by a man or by as they would regard Allah as, you know. So if they were to learn and open up their minds and read the books of Islam, they would actually understand what Islam and hijab is.
Yeah, that is so true. I've received some comments from some people. You know, you go in a shopping center, you walk through the food court or wherever where people are seated, and then people will make funny, snide comments about you wearing hijab or dressed a certain way. And, you know, back then it would kind of concern me or worry me. But now I'm just like, you know, what the heck, you know, we're together now, Baba. Guess what? You also have to cover yourself. All right. Now, Johara, you're looking very beautiful with your niqab, and Ayathandwa, you're also looking very beautiful with your hijab. Now, there's this constant debate also amongst the hijabis about amongst those who wear niqab and those who don't wear niqab. You know, some niqabis are trying to stand up for why they wear niqab, and others are like, you know what, I'm never going to wear niqab because this is that, that is that. I've often been asked, how come I don't cover my face? How come I don't wear niqab? You know, by people who don't understand. So, what are your thoughts on that, Johara, about the whole niqab, the niqab versus non-niqab sisters? Should this even be a concern? Why are we still worried about who wears niqab, who doesn't wear niqab, and why she wears and why she doesn't wear?
I don't know why this is an ongoing debate and why this conversation even exists. I feel like we should support sisters in whatever level of their journey they are on. In the way we've been socially conditioned in South Africa, we have to recognize the fact that it's not always easy to wear a hijab. But also, South Africa is one of the more forgiving countries where we can practice our religion so freely, you know, without any limitations and without any hijab bans or anything like that. That's one of the real blessings of being South African. So it really boggles my mind that this conversation actually exists. If we have to be very, very technical, we know that the hijab is farid, right? And that the niqab is wajib. There was a verse of the Quran in my early days before I went into niqab. It really struck a nerve, and it was that reading that verse that became a catalyst to me wearing the hijab, and that's where the tafsir goes into how the niqab is wajib. But at the end of the day, no one is in any position to judge anybody else on their level of sincerity or their hijab journey. And I feel that what we do, we need to do with sin and flaws in our own behavior. So when we are so consumed in our faults and in our sinning, we won't have the time or the luxury to be able to point fingers at anybody else, because we'll just be so consumed over how we can be better and do better.
Yeah, Ayathandwa?
I think sister has said a mouthful actually, where it's just an unnecessary debate. I think we also need to focus on what hijab is. What are the important parts that need to be covered when you speak of hijab? So if my hair is covered, my neck is covered, my ears are covered, my arms, my legs, my clothes are not transparent, my clothes don't show off the body of my shape, you have covered the important aspects of hijab. let us not go into the niqab. Niqab, as sister said, goes in, something struck her to wear a niqabi. She can't judge me also because I haven't reached that level of faith. And inshallah, she can make also dua for me that I should reach that level of faith to wear a niqab. But the most important thing, as long as I am covered as according to the characteristics of hijab, then alhamdulillah, let us, as she stated earlier just now, that we need to focus on becoming better Muslim women, better Muslim people. And then inshallah, we will get to that stages of that higher levels of covering our face and our literally the whole body, inshallah.
Mm-hmm. Johara, before I get to you, I just want to know about this issue about the level of faith. Does wearing niqab, does it really takes you up a notch?
And that's exactly what I wanted to say, because there's this idea that people that are in niqab are sinless and they're such saints. We are humans just like anybody else, and we have struggles just like everybody else. And just because we've made this external choice, or this I don't even know how to put it, but just because we're making this outward decision to propagate our faith and to just as flag bearers of Islam, doesn't mean that we don't have internal struggles as well. And that is one of the biggest misconceptions, that people put people that are in niqab on such pedestals and look up to them for inspiration. We are just struggling. We are struggling with our iman. We have good days and we have bad days, just like any other mu'min. And that is the nature of being a Muslim, is that we will be tested with our health, with our wealth, with our faith, and we'll have those days of iman highs and we'll have those days of iman lows as well. So don't look at somebody who's in niqab or somebody who has a beard and assume that they've reached a level of perfection in their deen. They are making a commitment to Allah, and sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's tough. The other thing I also wanted to say is, I'm so glad the sister mentioned the faraid of the parts of our bodies that need to be covered, because here in South Africa, there's this idea that hijab and niqab needs to be black only. And there's just so many of these misconceptions that we need to unravel now, and we need to just embrace the idea of hijab and niqab.
Well, I like the color black, as you can see, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be going to wear a full black hijab and all of that. When it comes to hijab, I'm all about color, but yeah, I still love black. Ladies, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I'd like to talk about hijab and being in the mainstream media, where we have places like or rather shops like Nike and Dolce & Gabbana taking advantage of this whole hijab thing. Perhaps they've now found the Muslim market and they want to cater to the Muslim market. So think about that. And when we return, we're going to discuss that.
This is Salam Media, and you are tuned into the Maryam Mkwanda Show.
As winter grips the Northern Hemisphere, refugees, IDPs, and other vulnerable communities are doing all they can to survive. Winter is already the hardest time of year, and in the current global context, this year could be even worse. With your help, the Al-Imdad Foundation is delivering life-saving winter warmth items in 12 countries globally, including Syria, Palestine, Yemen, Kashmir, and Pakistan. So be warm-hearted and sponsor a winter pack at just 600 Rand. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and free zakat calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Freedom Stationery supply Marlin and Marlin Kids pens to me and my school friends. They supply just about everything we need to help us get a better education, from books to files to rulers. In fact, any any accessory we need. Freedom Stationery. Education for the nation. What does accessory mean?
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
It is 12:18. You are listening to the Maryam Mkwanda Show on Salam Media, and on this World Hijab Day, we are talking about hijab. What else can we talk about, or if not hijab, on World Hijab Day? And joining me is Ayathandwa, Siyo, and Johara Hassam. Shukran, ladies, for staying on the line. Now, before the break, I wanted to know, what are your thoughts about hijab becoming mainstream, with the likes of Nike providing sportswear for women, and then we have Dolce and Gabbana making these beautiful abayas for their Muslim market, and some of us here like, hey, bruh, we just trying to get to Jannah, and now we have to compete with Dolce and Gabbana. I don't know what's gonna happen, but what are your thoughts about that? What do you think about hijab becoming mainstream? Let's start with you, Ayathandwa. All right. Would you like to take over, Johara?
Okay, with them making the hijabs for us, actually, it's just that sense of, okay, now you recognize that there are Muslims around in the world, and so I think it's only for me. I really don't really think much about it, because I don't want to buy we are just trying to get to Jannat. Whether we're wearing a Nike hijabi really doesn't matter for us, because it's mainly just for show that, oh, I'm wearing a Nike hijabi, I'm wearing a Dolce Gabbana abaya. It's really, I think, because we Muslims, we don't really pay attention to buying brand names of scarves or of abayas. It's really not much of an importance to us. So for me, it's just recognition. They recognize that, okay, there are Muslims in this world, so they are paying attention to us. It's just that for me. I really don't have much to say about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that they have identified the Muslim market, and they are taking advantage of the fact that Muslims are buying. Muslims are probably their biggest customers, and they don't mind spending as much as they can to get the best quality abayas, the best quality hijabs, the best quality whatever it is for themselves. Johara, what are your thoughts on this mainstream hijab issue?
Well, I don't really think that it's an issue. I think that it's really fantastic that these big brands are recognizing the Muslim market, as you've put it. And I also feel like everyone has their own preferences. Some people really value name brands. So for them to buy name branded hijabs or name branded abayas, it suits them. And for these big brands to keep producing products that are suitable for everyone, I think that's quite inclusive. And I think that's really lovely. In fact, I was speaking to somebody not so long ago who was working at a really, really big South African fashion house, and she was a buyer. And she recently left her job because she said there was no inclusivity for her Muslim brothers and sisters. She says there's inclusions in terms of Black, white, colored, Indian, and Asian, but when it comes to the Muslim market, we are completely isolated, and we are completely excluded in terms of the makeup that's being made, in terms of the hijab-friendly kind of clothes. So the fact that there is this new inclusion of the Muslim market, and not just the South African Muslim market, this is global, I think that's fantastic. And I also feel if we reframe our thinking, imagine how many non-Muslims will be exposed to other Dolce and Gabbana people that buy from Dolce & Gabbana avidly, and if they see these abayas, or Nike consumers see these Nike hijabs, it could be something that triggers some kind of interest in them. So I really love the inclusivity.
And it's not just about the Muslim market, but there are some women who prefer to dress modestly as well, and they may not be Muslim. So I like the inclusivity of modest wear for women who want to remain modest, and they don't have to be Muslim to dress modestly. And you guys can just support local businesses and buy local. I mean, support my brand. You know, I'm not Dolce & Gabbana, but it's still good quality, you know.
Of course.
All right. So, and you know, I wanted to know from you, Ayathandwa. Oh, okay, we've lost Ayathandwa, but I wanted to know if there was more acceptance with wearing hijab in public spaces, especially in our Black communities. You know, it's still regarded as something which is unfamiliar. When we go to let's decide to take a walk around the neighborhood, and people will stare at you. Kids will make comments about you being something else and not part of them, and they don't really understand. And people don't understand. All right, so Ayathandwa is with us on the line. So is there an acceptance? Are people starting to accept us wearing hijab in the public spaces? Are they are they standing with us against the Islamophobes? Is there an understanding? Is there a willing to learn? What do you think about that, Ayathandwa?
Yes, actually, I'll compare to when I started to embrace Islam. There was so much Islamophobia towards me from people around the community, where they just saw me as this outcast or a different person just because I'm in hijab. But as they saw the what the hijab did for me as an individual, they're starting to accept, and they're starting to love me more. So that days like when I would fall back and not be in hijab, they would ask me, what's wrong? Is there something wrong? Why not in hijab? You know, we love you more when you are covered up. Even people out there, when they see you, they immediately, when they see you in hijab, they respect you. You get that instant respect from people, where they deem you as this respectable woman, as this respectable person in the community. So yes, for me, I've gained acceptance from a lot of people, even new people who don't see me. They get that interest of learning about Islam, just automatically seeing me in the scarf or in my hijab, and then they want to know more about the deen. So I think also because now, like with as we're speaking earlier on about Nike, embracing Islam and having hijabi items, people now are more aware that okay, there's this certain religion called Islam, which is not categorized for foreigners or Indians. It's actually for the whole the whole world, regardless of your race, regardless of your tribe. Islam is for everybody. So yes, people are more acceptant of hijab.
And I like how you mentioned earlier, Johara, about us being living in South Africa and how we are free to practice our religion. And that is one of the things that gives us more confidence to wear hijab out in public, because we know that there aren't many incidences of Islamophobia that takes place. But then there was that one in Cape Town, I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken, where this young woman was harassed because of wearing her hijab in a public space. So if something like that would occur to you, well, what would you do? Would you confront the person? Would you educate the person? Would you fight them? Like, what would you do? I mean, we hardly are faced in such situations, but we never know when it could happen or if it might happen.
My husband is giggling and pointing his fingers at me because he knows I'm a very reactive person. I was in Macro once, many years ago, when I was in niqab, when I was very new in niqab, and there was this big man with a very Afrikaans accent that was poking fun at me for being in niqab, and I was very reactive then. And I used that as an opportunity to give dawah. And then you realize that you have to pick your battles. And if you are in imminent danger, obviously the first thing would be to get help, or to find a safe space. But if you have the opportunity to give dawah, then use that opportunity to give dawah. Some people are not ready to hear anything. They just want to react, or they just project their hurt or their insecurities or whatever it is that they are feeling onto anybody. And I use the phrase hurt people. So when people are being nasty, it's because of whatever pain they have inside them. So I think with understanding, and like I mentioned that thick skin earlier, you know which battles to pick and which battles not to pick. You see which people are more perceptive and more engaging and maybe more encouraged to learn more, and which aren't, which people just want to have something nasty to say. But if you are in imminent danger, gosh, I don't know what I do if I'm in imminent danger. I might be petite, but I promise you I'm really, really strong. So I might put up a really good fight, but Allah save us and Allah protect us always. Ameen.
I've got my pepper spray ready with me. So if anybody wants to come and try me, I'm gonna pepper spray you, and you're gonna know. Let's just put it there. You're gonna know. But yes, I like how you mentioned that hurt people. They might be coming from somewhere where they have been deeply scarred by whatever situation. Maybe it was a Muslim person who hurt them, and now they decide to take this anger out on the rest of us, which is not a good way to go about it. Rather learn and take your anger out towards the person who hurt you, because at the end of the day, they are a person first before they are a Muslim. And unfortunately, that's how people see things. If somebody gets hurt by a Muslim, then it's Muslim people are doing this, Muslim people are doing that, and then becomes a whole Islamophobic thing once again. Ayathandwa, what would you do?
Just like I have a story when I first embraced Islam, where one person was wearing the full black abaya, and then they were like to me, "Are you hiding bombs under that abaya?" But because you knew in the religion, and you just have the state of being so defensive. I got so angry, and I was like, "You're the first person I'm gonna bomb with this bombs that you're saying I'm hiding under my abaya." And then he looked, because I was not expecting that response. But as time goes by, you learn how to deal with such situations. You learn to be more calm. Sometimes just ignore comments. So obviously, I wouldn't know what I would do, because I'm a very calm person. I hate fights. Probably I would just shell up and be in a corner, or maybe I'd fight back. I'm not sure, but I think I would assess the situation first. But if I'm in danger, as the sister mentioned, I think it would be better to pull away and be in a safe area.
All right. Quickly, words of advice on this World Hijab Day, Ayathandwa?
Not much. Just be happy that you are the chosen. This. I think besides being in hijab, but being in such a beautiful religion that loves women so much, and it wants to protect us. And with us being in hijab, it's the first protection that we have. Being covered, like I said, by a pearl, a very important pearl that needs to be taken care of until we reach the day of Qiyamah and we are taken into Jannah, inshallah. So we need to be so happy that we are loved by Allah so much that He chose us to be Muslim women. And on top of being Muslim women, we are protected by this. It's cloth, it's just cloth, but it has so much power to it. We're covered, we're protected, we're not exposed to so much danger. Unfortunately, the only danger that now we come across is people who don't understand why we are in hijab. But regardless of that, people who are open-minded, people who see us, they, like I said, there's this respect that they get from us and we get from them instantly about being hijab. So be happy, be content, and treat yourself as that important pearl or diamond. And alhamdulillah, or inshallah, you're going to motivate other people who don't know about the deen, or even people who are in the deen who are struggling with hijab. We might motivate them to pick up their feet and be like, I want to be like Sister Maryam, who's always covered. Let me continue to be covered. And obviously, when you are in hijab, it also has that aspect of strengthening your iman as a Muslim woman. So I'll just say, be happy, be proud that you are a Muslim woman that is covered in hijab and you're loved.
Right, shukran. Johara, any advice from you?
Well, not really advice, but I'd like to add on to what the sister said. I absolutely love that analogy that she used. And that's the analogy that I continue using with my daughters. And whenever I give talks about hijab and modesty to young girls, is that this hijab is not meant to limit us. If anything, this hijab is the most liberating. And it's also such a beautiful protection. And like the sister said, it's just a simple piece of cloth, but the mentality of it and the preservation of it is far beyond that cloth. So when we realize our value in Islam and how everything that we value in this world is protected, everything that is extremely important, there's some measure of protection that, like your jewelry, you put in a safe, or it's really expensive. And how do you even acquire diamonds? How do you acquire pearls? It's through great effort. Am I right? Like diamonds are compressed rock, and pearls are in the ocean between a clam. And if we look at those analogies and think of the preservation of the hijab, I think that gives us a really different meaning and understanding of what hijab is. And that's when we can really completely embrace the fact that it is such a beautiful submission, and it's also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's way of protecting us as these strong yet fragile but really, really valuable members of the ummah.
Right. Jazakallah so much to both of you for your time and for that discussion. Unfortunately, time is not on our side, and I wish you well in your future endeavors, and have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Right, that was Johara Hassam and Ayathandwa Siyo taking us through this World Hijab Day discussion. What does hijab mean? What does hijab mean to them? The Islamophobia that we go through as Muslim women, the lack of understanding, the ignorance, the mainstream hijab, just taking us through it all. And if you've missed it, it is available on Facebook. Do stay with us. We will be right back.